Hello everybody, this is Crumbs018 and I apologize for last episode of my thoughts on My Hero Academia. Yeah, I was mistaken a little bit because I went and checked episode 18 and it actually had some of the stuff I had talked about in episode 17. So yeah, I messed up a little bit. The whole thing involving Bakugo and them and the other guy, yeah, that was in this episode actually. And yeah, and also the thing where Midoriya and them got their pass into the next round of the tournament, that was also in this episode. I apologize. So if you want to hear about that, there's not much to talk about. Just sorry. It ain't much to talk about on the Midoriya thing, but if you want to hear what I said about Bakugo and them, feel free to go on and watch episode 17 again. I'm sorry. But yeah, Miss Joke's group, the guy who was apparently, the one that was acting all friendly and apparently being very manipulative, I guess would be the word. I don't know. You haven't gotten to see much of him, so I can't really judge. They were talking about how everybody's getting desperate because the more people pass into the next round, the less slots there are, and they're worried that if they don't hurry, they're not going to get into the next round. And I can understand their logic on that, but rushing to do that could get you into a situation where you'd lose. And speaking of that, Ida actually ends up running into Aoyama, who's cowering behind a rock. I don't know why he's cowering. I think he's probably, out of all the students, he and Mineta are possibly the least brave, I guess. That'd be the right word for it. Anyway, ignore that. That was, I think that was my me getting a new email or something. But anyway, Ida convinces him to come on with him because hiding behind there is not gonna get you any closer to getting, the points you need to pass. And after a bit, Aoyama starts thinking about, certain stuff and decides that the best course of action is to sacrifice himself, thinking that I guess he's not good enough to be here or something, or to get his provisional license or something. I don't know what his thinking is. But instead of not just drawing the attention of the enemy, they drew the attention of the rest of their class that had not passed yet. And thankfully, because of him, all the rest of the students in class 1A pass. Which is nuts. Because of Aoyama, everybody else was able to pass. Which is good. Anyway, before all this ended up happening, Bakugo's group and Midoriya's group ended up meeting up at the building where everybody's supposed to congregate. And actually, I think Miss Joke's group ended up, passing as well, which is good. And let's see who else passed. I can't even remember what her name is. The girl in the bodysuit that was being all weird with Midoriya and all that could transform. Yeah, she passed as well. And yeah, everybody else passed. And when the group met up, Bakugo noticed that Midoriya had obviously passed. And he said, "Oh, I see you finally managed to make that borrowed quirk your own." And, well, now we know that Bakugo was actually paying attention and or realized what Midoriya had said before. Back in episode 6, 7, I can't remember which. But, yeah. He knows that Midoriya doesn't have Midoriya's quirk is not natural. Or he wasn't born with it naturally. He was essentially inherited it, which means it wasn't, natural. And Midoriya realizes that Bakugo's onto him, in a way. Though he obviously doesn't know about One for All, but he does know that Midoriya's quirk is not his own. He didn't have it when they were kids, essentially. Though it wouldn't surprise me, I'm guessing there is a possibility that people could have their quirks pop up later in life, because apparently this happened to All For One's brother, because nobody knew that he had a quirk. Or maybe it popped up when he was a kid and just never did anything with it because it was useless. You couldn't exactly do anything with it because it essentially was the quirk that allowed you to pass on quirks, so that's kind of a useless quirk. Maybe it popped up when he was a kid, he just never noticed it, because it's not like being able to breathe fire or Todoroki's quirk, for example. You'd notice that. But yeah, that's what I think. I don't know if it's actually possible for a person's quirk to remain dormant until they're older. If it is, then it could be possible that Midoriya could have, but people could think that his quirk just didn't pop up until later. But if that actually ends up being the case, is it possible that he could have a quirk, it just hasn't, shown itself yet? And if so, I wonder what that quirk could be, because that adds to the power of One for All, essentially. So, that's about all I have to say for this episode, because essentially it ended with the end of the first round. Anyway, that's about all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to, because I've only got 7 more episodes of My Hero Academia left to upload. Anyway, I'll see you next time.